Hi, I'm Beck, and I am so excited to introduce This Witch Reads 2025. This is a reading challenge based around witchy fantasy books, although you can read any genre you want, that takes place in October every year. It is the third year I have done this reading challenge, and it is a team-based challenge. There are 4 covens, essentially, and you choose which coven you think matches your magic type the most, or generally just matches your vibe. This year, the challenge will be running on both Instagram and Discord. So, depending on which platform you prefer, you can take part. And there are coven leaders for each platform to make sure that you have somebody there to ask questions, to try and hype up the chat a little bit, to try and give you book recommendations, and generally to keep the challenge and the coven going. I have 4 new covens this year. I've developed them, I've made some new tarot cards for them, and I'm so excited to announce them. The 4 covens that I have made this year are necromancy, celestial, divination, and elemental. So let me tell you a little bit more about the 4 covens so you can see which one you might like to choose, and let me introduce you to who your coven leaders are going to be. So let's take necromancy first. The necromancy coven, think dark fantasy, dark magic. If you are an enemies to lovers person, if you like reincarnation or shadow magic or dark magic in general, the underworld, curses, things like that. That's all sort of encompassed under the coven necromancy this year. The coven leaders for this are going to be Yaz and Faye and Bryony, who are all on Discord and Instagram, and Martina, who is on Instagram only. The reason I have so many coven leaders is because sometimes this challenge gets quite big, and we need lots of people there in case there's lots of questions. And also, the more the merrier when it comes to a team-based reading challenge. The second coven that I have made this year is celestial. So think of the sun, the moon, the stars, fae, high fantasy, deities, wishes, all sorts of things like that. Gods and goddesses in general. That's very celestial magic vibes. And the coven leaders for that are Katie, Amy, Kelly, and Gemma, and they are both on Instagram and Discord. So you'll get a really consistent team approach no matter where you are there. The third coven that I have made this year is called Divination, and that's sort of reading the future, predicting things, small magics, chance, scrying, tarot cards, all those sort of cozy small magics that people, me included, love. I think there's a lot of magic that can be found in the small magic of the everyday. Your coven leaders for divination are Shreya, who will be on Instagram, Whirl, who will be on Discord, and Mars, Kat, and Amy, who are on both. So that coven has representation everywhere as well. They all do, but I've tried to make sure they're good and balanced. And the fourth, but definitely not the least, coven that I have made is elemental. So think fire magic, maybe phoenixes, earth, green magic, wind, lightning, storms, water, mermaids, sea creatures, all these sorts of things. That comes under elemental magic. And the coven leaders for elemental magic are Amy and Louise on Instagram and Discord, Cam on Discord only, and Becky on Instagram. So amazing, amazing people I've got to help me with this challenge. They are so enthusiastic. They have recommendations for days. I can't wait for you to meet them, and I can't wait for you to read with them. So excited to work with them all this year. So let's have a little look about what the actual reading challenge is. So each coven has a bingo card that they can read to get extra points, essentially. And each square on the bingo card is worth 100 points. If you manage to complete the bingo card, it is an extra 500 points. But every single page that you read in October is worth a point alone. So even if you read off card, it still counts for your coven's points. If you read a book that is over 400 pages, those pages are 1.5 points a page. To try and balance the field a little bit, if there's people who join who actually only read a couple of books a month, but they're quite substantial, you would absolutely have a huge contribution to a coven. So let's go through the prompts kind of card by card, but each card has a set line which is the same to try and unify the challenge and to bring the witchy theme forward.
So we're going to look at that first of all. So I'm going to bring it up here, and it's going to definitely shine on my glasses. But here we are. The line that you can see now, hopefully, that is in common for all the covens, the witchy line, starts with the prompt, the witch hunt. And this is with a group who is or has been persecuted. It can be witches, but it doesn't have to be witches. It could be a group in society that has been persecuted. It could be a social commentary book. It could be somebody who has been hunted in general, something like that. Next, we have the witch trials, and this is my favourite trope of all time. This could be a trial or a competition. It could be academic, it could be in fighting, it could be baking, a trial or competition in general. The third common prompt across all 4 covens is the familiar, and that is my wonderful right-hand person, assistant Andy. Andy will be dealing with all of the statistics and your scores for this month, and it is the part of the reading challenges that I struggle with the most, and I'm so grateful for them helping me and stepping in. So Andy and I will be present across all of the covens, and we have an oversight across everything. And we will do a little reading challenge of our own, but there'll be more on that to come once you've signed up. So the familiar is with an animal companion. We've decided Andy is kind of like my familiar, and so that's just a book with an animal companion. And I am Supreme Witch Beck, and so this prompt is for me. This is the Supreme Witch. It's featuring deities or gods or goddesses, something like that, because obviously I'm in charge of the challenge, so why not? Okay, let's just stick with this necromancy card that we have here just now and go through the rest of the necromancy prompts, and then I'll go through the rest of the other coven's prompts. So the other 2 lines of the necromancy one, we have skeletons in the closet. So a book with a family secret, say maybe somebody was actually an illegitimate child, or say, I don't know, they hid something in a magical artifact. All of these things, anything could count. The secret could be anything. We have The Walking Dead next, which is undead characters. Could be a vampire, could be a ghost, could be a spirit, could be a reanimated corpse, could be anything. Then we have The Book of Night, which is with a black or green cover. There's a simpler and more challenging prompts on all the bingo cards. I've tried really hard to make them even, and hopefully that has come off. And then we have Dark Academia, another one of my favourites, just with a general dark academia setting or vibe. The last row, we have these all on all the cards follow the same pattern. Resurrect It, which is retry a book that you have DNF'd or put aside. So if you've started a book and you've thought, not for me just now, for this prompt, we would like you to try and resurrect it. It could even be something that you opened on your Kindle and you started reading, and then you decided it wasn't the right time. That's exactly what we want for that prompt. Then we have Destroy It, so about the downfall of something. It could be maybe a post-apocalyptic world. It could be where a magical kingdom comes crashing down. It could be anything. Curse It is featuring a curse, any sort of curse. The world is your oyster. And then the last thing is Flip Reverse It. Now, when I wrote this prompt, I was cackling to myself because I referenced Blazing Squad with Flip Reverse It. If you know, you know. But turns out I'm really old and no one else gets it. So if you do get that reference, please let me know in the comments. And I just wanted each card to have a little bit of diversity, so it wasn't all the same. And so this one I want featuring restoration or healing, because I kind of saw like giving life to be the opposite of necromancy. So each card actually has a flip reverse prompt where you're having to look for the opposite, which I thought was quite fun. So now let's look into the bottom 2 lines of the Celestial Coven's prompts. So Celestial Empire, that was one of the Coven leaders' choices. That's related to or based around China, because China was the original Celestial Empire. We have Fallen Angel, which is featuring a character who has had a fall from grace. So it could be somebody who'd lost a job, it could be somebody who had academic failure, it could be somebody who had been an elite member of society and has lost their position. Any fall from grace would do. Could literally be a fallen angel. Then we have Stargazer, a high fantasy book. Circadian Rhythm, So this is when an element of the plot is affected by the cycle of day or night. So for example, when night breaks, the curse happens, or when day breaks, people can be human, but during the night they're an animal. Anything like that, kind of Shrek vibes, say. Then we have Christen It, which is featuring a character with a celestial name. So like Star, Aries, anything like that. Cover It, so celestial bodies on the cover, so think moons, stars. Bless It, so that's a book with the chosen one trope. That's when one person has to be the one that's going to save everybody. And then we have Flip Reverse It for celestial, set in a hellscape or barren land, because celestial is all supposed to be about purity and about the skies and vitality and things like that. So that's your contrast for the celestial one. Then let's go into divination. So the first divination prompt is Shoot for the Stars, and that's an Afrofuturism read. So if you want some more information about what Afrofuturism is, the Coven has got loads of information there for you, and loads of recommendations. So an Afrofuturism read there. Then we have Dice Roller. That's kind of playing on a bit with a heist, maybe thinking of like, I don't know, casino type vibes. Or it doesn't have to have them, but that's just what I was playing with the names. Then we have Tea Leaves, a cozy read. It could be any sort of cozy read. We have Mind Reader. So that's with an aspect of mental power or magic. For example, clairvoyance, or maybe you can read mind. That's what clairvoyance is. Maybe you can make people do what you want with your mind, or maybe you can tell when somebody's lying. I've read quite a few books where people can tell if people are lying or not. Then we have Predict It, which is featuring a prophecy. The prophecy may or may not come true, but if the book features a prophecy, then that's what we're going for. Randomize It. This is choose a book at random, so you can use a TBR list or a TBR picker, or you can write all your books out and run your finger down in a sort of bibliomancy way, or you can get somebody else to pick a book from the four books you've got in your hand, like behind your back, or as long as it's random from a selection, that's what this prompt means. Then we have Shuffle It. So your title of your book has to feature a word from the name of a tarot card, and that is any tarot card on the deck. So I would say that includes the numbers as well. So it's not maybe quite as tight as you'd think. And then we have Flip Reverse It for the Divination Coven, which is set in the distant past, because so much of divination is about looking to the future. So set in the distant past. Okay, last one that we're going to look at is obviously the Elemental Coven. And the first one for that is Elementary, My Dear Watson. I know the names are corny, but I had so much fun making them. So this is with a crime or investigation. It doesn't have to be a crime novel per se, as long as there is a crime committed as a feature of the novel in general. Then we have Under the Sea, which is a water setting. Into the Woods, featuring a wood or a forest. Hot to Go, which is a popular or highly anticipated read, so something you've seen really hyped. Blaze It, which is fire on the cover or in the title. Then we have Fight It, with a battle featuring elemental magic. So we want a fight where people have fire that they're wielding, or they're bringing the rains in, or there's storms or something like that. Then we have Weather It, which is featuring adverse weather or natural disasters. So that could be a tsunami, that could be a tornado, that could be a drought, something like that. And then the Flip Reverse It one for Elemental is set somewhere with a lack of natural resources. So because it relies so much on nature elemental magic, this could be set somewhere with a lack of natural resources. So you could even set it in space. Up to you what you choose. But that is the bingos. I hope you like them. I've had so much fun making them. I've spent a lot of time on them, as I'm sure you can tell from looking at them. And as I said, each bingo square that you fill is 100 points. The full card is 500. Okay, how to join and rules. You can either join via the Discord, which you can get the link for in my linktree, which I'll have linked in the description box below. It's also on my Instagram profile. Or if you go to the Instagram launch post on my page, you can comment which coven you'd like to be in, and we will add you to the chat for that coven. Please be aware that DNFs do not count for prompts
but the pages that you read out of them will count. So if you read 100 pages of a book and you decide you're not finishing it, it doesn't count for that prompt anymore, but you can still count those 100 pages that you've read for part of the actual page points. So every single page you read in October, it's all to play for. I think the only thing left to talk about is scoring. There will be a score form that you will fill out, and that will also come October, not before then, be in my Linktree and be shared in all of the Coven chats. And essentially, you fill it out per book so that we can get your pages. Make sure you write your username the same way every time. It's a very brief form. Most of it is drop down. You only have to type in, I think, the book title, the author, and the number of pages. It would be really, really helpful if you could fill this out as you go, but I know best will in the world, it doesn't always happen. It would be great to maybe to have you do that though, so that we could maybe tell you which team's in the lead partway through, etc. So that will be available, as I said, in the Coven chat and in my Linktree. If you do want to take part in the challenge, but you're not down for either the Discord or the Instagram chats, then also feel free to take part on your own. I would love to have you. Send me a message and tell me that you're taking part, but you don't really want to be in the chats. And the score form will still be available for you. You still will be able to earn points, and you still will be able to be entered for individual prizes. And you will also be part of the Coven, of course, just not in the chat and in the community aspect. So if you do still want to take part, but you don't particularly love the chats, that's okay as well. Just let me know if there's anything I can help you with. The graphics should all be online. There are some rules. 1 novella and 1 graphic novel only permitted for prompts. All other books have to be over 150 pages to count. Every single thing. Even if you read 7 graphic novels, you can only count 1 for the prompts, but you can count all of them for the pages. I hope that makes sense. There's no prompt police, so if you think it fits, if you genuinely think it fits, not if you're trying to cram it in, but if you think it fits, use it. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be about community. It's supposed to be about reading lots of books. It's not supposed to be too serious, so don't get too worried about trying to fit the exact prompt. But try and fit it as much as you can, as well as you can for the bingo. In the chats and in the Discord, obviously there's rules when you go in there, but I just think it's worth saying. Obviously, no hateful content. There'll be no promotion of JKR or any of the JKR fanfics. And if you do that, your message will probably be deleted, and then a moderator will message you to say, we're not having that in the chat, just because we do have lots of trans members in our community and we want them to be safe and enjoy the challenge as well. If there are any questions about the challenge, they go to your Coven leaders first. And if your Coven leaders are not there, then myself or Andy will help you, hopefully, to answer them. There are prizes. I know, very exciting. There will be, depending on which Coven wins, there's a couple of people that we draw randomly from the Coven to win the Coven prize. But then there are also prizes throughout the month as well. So if somebody posts some recommendations and it looks really nice, they'll go into a draw for like the best post about the Switch reads, and there'll also be a prize for the person who reads the most books overall and things like that. They're not particularly huge prizes because I fund this all myself. It'll be book vouchers or a book off your wish list, but half of the fun is in the challenge, and so maybe a tiny chance of being able to win a prize makes it just that little bit sweeter. So I think I've covered everything. If I haven't covered everything, I'm really sorry. You'll be able to find out more information, obviously, on the Instagram post, or you'll be able to find out more information in the Discord. I really, really hope to have you join us this month, this October, for the Switch Reads. And I'll see you next week for some recommendations. Thanks for watching. Bye.